that sound. That never-ending drip, drip, drip coming from the shower. It's more than just annoying. It's literally money going right down the drain. But what if I told you that you could fix it yourself? And I mean for good, with just a couple of tools and a little bit of know-how. Well, let's dive in and finally get some peace and quiet.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to uncover the real problem behind that stubborn leak. Then we'll get our toolkit all set up. I'll walk you through the fix step by step. We'll conquer the hardware store, and then we'll wrap up with some pro tips to make sure you nail it.
All right, part one. Let's figure out what's actually going on. Because look, if you've ever tried to fix a leak, you know that just swapping out the washer, well, it doesn't always cut it. We've got to go a little deeper to find the real culprit here.
I mean, this is the question that drives people crazy, right? You do the one thing everyone tells you to do. You replace that little black washer, you put it all back together, and drip. It's so frustrating, but trust me, the answer is usually way simpler than you think.
And boom, there it is. This quote really gets to the heart of it. See, the washer isn't actually the problem, it's the victim of the problem. The real issue is a scratched-up faucet seat. That's the little metal ring that the washer presses against. If that seat is all rough and pitted, it's just going to chew up every new washer you put in, and that drip will always come back. That's what we're here to fix today.
Okay, so now that we know our real target is that faucet seat, it is time to gear up. This is section 2, your DIY toolkit. And listen, having the right tools before you even start just makes this whole process so much smoother. Way less stressful, I promise.
Here's the essential gear you're going to need. Now, you probably already have a decent screwdriver and some channel lock pliers lying around. The more specialized stuff is a handle puller for those handles that just refuse to budge, a set of tub wrench sockets which make pulling the faucet stem out a breeze, and of course the star of the show, the seat wrench. You can get all this stuff for a pretty small investment, honestly.
And here is a super simple tip that will absolutely save you a massive headache later. Before you touch a single screw, lay a towel down in the tub or the sink. It does two really important things. One, it protects the tub from getting all scratched up by your tools. And two, it's your safety net. It'll catch any of those tiny little screws you might drop. You do not want to be fishing for a screw that fell down the drain.
All right, our tools are ready, our workspace is prepped. It's time for the main event. Part 3. The step-by-step fix. Let's get our hands dirty and finally shut that drip up.
First things first, and I can't stress this enough, shut off the main water to your house. Find that valve and turn it off. Next, open up a faucet somewhere else in the house just to drain the pressure out of the pipes. Then you can start taking things apart. Pop off the handles, use that puller if you need to, and then unscrew those decorative covers. We call them escutcheons. After that, your tub wrench socket makes it super easy to pull out the whole faucet stem.
And since I just threw a weird word at you, let's clear that up. It's pronounced escutcheon. Yeah, escutcheon. It's just a fancy pants name for that decorative plate that hides all the plumbing guts. So now you know.
Okay, this right here is the heart of the whole repair. Grab your seat wrench, pop it down into the faucet, and turn it counterclockwise. That'll back out the old nasty seat. Then, carefully thread the new seat in with your fingers at first so you don't mess up the threads, and then just give it a gentle little snug with the wrench. Now here is a really important tip. Before you put that stem back in, make sure you've twisted it so it's in the fully open position. If you don't, you could crush your brand new washer the second you install it.
And just look at this. This shows you exactly why we're doing all this work. On the left, that's the old seat. You can see it's all scarred and pitted and just plain rough. That's a recipe for a leak that never dies. But on the right, the brand new seat. It's perfectly smooth, ready to create a perfect seal. That, my friends, is the difference between a temporary patch and a real, long-lasting fix.
So you've taken the faucet apart, and you have the old, grimy parts in your hand. What's next? Well, it's time for part 4, the hardware store quest. I know, this can feel like the scariest part, but there's a system to it that makes it totally foolproof.
The #1 golden rule is to always bring the old parts with you. Seriously, don't leave home without them. When you get to the faucet parts aisle, look for these big binders or guidebooks. Think of them like a treasure map. All you have to do is flip through the pages until you find a life-size picture that is an exact match for the stem in your hand. The book will then tell you the brand, like Price Pfister, and the exact part number you need. It's honestly that simple.
And this quote is so true because it's all about giving you the confidence to do it yourself. You know that feeling of wandering the aisles, hoping to find someone who can help? Well, with the old part in one hand and that guidebook in the other, you have all the power you need to figure it out on your own.
We're in the home stretch now. You've got the new part, you've swapped it out, and you're ready to put everything back together. So welcome to our final section, Part 5, Pro Tips for Success. These last few little tricks are going to make sure your repair is absolutely perfect.
First up, let's talk about the packing nut. So what is that? Well, it's the little nut that squeezes a seal around the stem. Its whole job is just to stop water from sneaking out from behind the handle itself. If you've ever had a leak right at the handle, this little guy is usually the one to blame.
So as you're putting things back together, you want to tighten that packing nut just enough so the handle is easy to turn, but not so tight that it feels stiff. Okay, now for a genius tip. Before you test out your brand new repair, go to the faucet that's the farthest away from your main water shutoff, like a backyard hose spigot, and turn it on full blast. This flushes out all the rust and crud that got knocked loose in the pipes, so it doesn't immediately clog up your new parts. Brilliant, right? Then head back, and before you put on the pretty covers and handles, slowly turn the water back on and just watch. Check for any leaks. If you're dry, you are good to go.
And there you have it. By going past the washer and fixing the real problem, the faucet seat, you've done what most people don't. You navigated the hardware store like a pro, you put it all back together, and you saved yourself a whole lot of money on a plumbing bill. So the only question left is, aren't you ready to just enjoy the silence?